I absolutely love growing squash, and there are three I come back to every season. In this video, I'll share the exact varieties that are the easiest to grow, the most productive, and that taste incredible straight from the garden. One's perfect for storing, one crops all summer long, and one is especially resistant to pests. Let's start with this one. Beautifully bold butternut squashes are the creme de la creme of winter squashes, and if I open it up, well, we can see that beautiful sweet and nutty flesh with that lovely smooth texture we all know and love. It's great in everything from soups to stews, just delicious. I'm going to be planting the variety Waltham Butternut today, which promises a fine skin and smooth grained deep orange flesh. Now I've got the little plants here ready to go, and as the weather is set fine, well, it's time to get them in. One of the big advantages of growing butternuts, especially in the US, is their resistance to squash vine borers. So if you've had trouble with that pesky pest in the past, try growing a butternut. This variety is also really resistant to powdery mildew, a common problem of squashes. What a trooper. All squashes love a sunny position and of course extra rich soil. Now this area was improved in the winter with plenty of garden compost, but I'm going to add even more into each planting position to really supercharge growth. Now I've got two options for growing these squashes. One, just let them sprawl about all over the place, or two, train them up supports. I'm going for the latter, because by doing that I can plant them a little bit closer, say 2 foot or 60 centimetres apart rather than 4 foot or over a metre. It also means by training them onto supports, I'm going to get a lovely vertical accent of interest here in this corner of the garden, which will really bring it to life. So in this bed I should be able to get 3 plants, and I'm adding about half a bucket full of compost into each planting position, and then I'm also going to add a small handful of bloodfish and bone as well. Other organic fertilisers that don't use animal products are available. And then to plant, take our little plant out of its pot, dig a hole and pop it in. Simple as that. If you saw my recent video on zucchini or courgettes, linked to down below by the way, you'll know what's coming next. I'm going to bank up the soil into a ring to create a sort of bowl to trap the water, which will make it a lot easier to get water down to the roots there. And over here you can see why banking up the soil around plants at planting time works so well. These were planted just 3 weeks ago and they're positively romping away now. It's only rained once in the last 3 weeks, and despite that, well, look at them. The levees I've made help trap all of the water I apply so that they get the most from it and really muscle out. Righty-ho then, that's our butternuts in place. Now it's just time to drop over the top of them these rather attractive obelisks. I'm going to help them find their way up by tying them on as they get going. These are quite thin and slippery, so I think that will really help. But if you're training your squashes up something like a trellis, a wooden trellis that's got a naturally rougher texture, they'll be much better able to get their way up. But I think these obelisks look rather attractive. So what can we expect from these plants? Well, they're really vigorous, which makes them a great choice for most climates, including mine. They will yield up to 4 fruits, each one weighing up to 4 pounds or around 2 kilos. And they'll all be ready right at the end of the season in autumn. And probably the best bit, they will store for up to 6 months, meaning delicious butternuts right the way through to the following spring. Next up, a patty pan or scallop squash, so called because of its scalloped edges and slightly flatter form. These are really good looking fruits. They kind of look a bit like a flying saucer. The fruits are a lot smaller than our butternuts, but because they are summer squash and not winter squash, they will crop all summer long, just like our zooks or courgettes. So long as you keep on picking them, they will keep on coming. I've picked a patty pan squash because they are so prolific and both the skin and flesh make great eating, so there's no need to peel them or anything like that. And the plants themselves have a slightly more compact habit, which makes them perfect for growing in containers, which is how I'm going to grow them. Patty pans are commonly available with pale green or yellow fruits, as well as pale custard squashes. They're all charming and all magnificent as far as I'm concerned. Today I'm going to be planting a yellow variety called Sunbeam, which has a beautiful, rich and creamy flesh, and like most patty pans is more tolerant of squash vine borers and mildews than your average summer squash. Space is running out in my vegetable garden, so today I am going to plant them into these containers. Now into the bottom of each I'm going to start by just filling it about half full with pretty rough compost that I've just dug out. But that's fine because it'll carry on rotting as the roots get down there. There we are. And then into the bottom here, the next layer, I've got some comfrey leaves I've just cut. These are really rich in potassium, which should help with kind of encouraging flower and fruit production. They'll wilt down and the roots will get into that and really enjoy that. And then to fill it up to the top, I'm going to go for a 50-50 mix of just potting mix and then more compost. That's all nicely mixed, and then to finish, just a scant handful here of our friend the bloodfish and bone and tickle that in. Right, we're good to plant. So here we go, pot off and in she goes. Now, like all squash family plants, you'll get much better pollination when there's more than one plant growing in the vicinity, so the bees can flip between the flowers a bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grow all three of these plants in pots, their own pots, but close to each other to up the chances of good pollination. Like all summer squash, these guys grow fast, so I should expect the first fruits as soon as 6 weeks or so, possibly even sooner. I'll need to keep these containers well watered because they'll be relying on me for all their moisture. But I've got the perfect spot for them, a little sun trap corner up on my patio where they can bask in the sunshine all day long. Then once the fruits do come through, I'll need to cut them nice and young to keep them coming, just like my zucchini or courgettes. Now, patty pans have a denser flesh than zucchini, which makes them ideal for slicing or grilling, even stuffing, and they're great with meats, pastas and grains. Yum! Have I saved the best till last? I reckon so. These absolute stunners are red curry, and inside this vibrant, bright orange flesh is a super intense, low water content, dense flesh that translates to epic flavours. Try it in curries, casseroles, even pies, tarts and bread. My goodness, this is the poster girl of the squash catwalk. Am I getting carried away? Perhaps, but if you've not tried this, well, you are in for a treat, my friend. Red curry, also known as uchiki curry, is a Japanese bread variety that produces these portion-friendly, teardrop-shaped fruits that open to reveal a beautiful, golden, creamy, sweet and nutty flesh. Like the butternuts we planted earlier, these guys will store for months, and they're full of good things, everything from vitamins A and C to fibre. Lovely stuff. They don't look like much, do they? But these little plants are going to sprawl. I'm going to put them down here where they've got loads of space to kind of sprawl out hither and thither. Now it gets good sunshine, and as it's lowered down, if I dig down, the soil's still quite nice and moist. This is our driest spring on record, and yet look, it's still pretty good. So I know that I won't have to carry on watering and watering down here. There's good natural moisture. Let's get them in. And as before, I'm going to add about half a bucket of our lovely compost to each planting area, and then some bloodfish and bone. And then plantings exactly as before. Dig ourselves our little hole into our prepared ground and pop it in. There we are. And just like the butternuts, I'm going to finish by making a little bit of a little bowl around it, especially as we're on a slope here. That's going to be important to catch all the waterings so it goes down to the roots. Now the other two plants, they're at least about 3 foot or a metre away, so that gives plenty of room for all the stems to sprawl and grow. I can't tell you how much I agonised over the choice of this third squash. For me, it was a really close call between red curry and Crown Prince, an equally tasty squash with dense flesh and really attractive, dusky, glaucous skin. Really stunning. So if you can't find yourself red curry or uchiki curry, then look out for Crown Prince, my honorary fourth choice, if I'm allowed that. All being well, we can expect 5, possibly even 6 fruits per plant, which is pretty impressive when you come to think about it. And these will all become available right at the end of summer into autumn. And after curing them, they can then go into store when they should last for several months. Now, if you'd like to know more about harvesting and curing your squash, then I will link to a video that covers that in the description below. If you haven't got any young squash plants or plugs, don't worry, there's still plenty of time to sow them. And as it's now nice and warm, we can sow them directly where they're going to grow. Now, prepare the soil exactly as if you were going to plant your squash. And then with your nice loose soil, you're going to put 2 seeds on their sides like this. And we're planting 2 seeds because if they both come up, you can choose the strongest, but it's a bit of a hedge against them failing. On their sides and about 1 inch or 2 or 3 centimetres deep. Lightly pat them down and then give them a good water. Keep this area nice and moist, and then like all squashes, they'll grow really fast, germinating within a week or so, and within about 2 weeks you'll have nice fat young seedlings raring to go and take off. Choosing your favourite squashes is tough. Each has its own very special character and uses, so deciding which ones work best for you is a very personal choice. Perhaps you have a different set of squashes that would make your top 3. If so, let me know what they are in the comments below. There's still plenty of time to download the free abridged version of my book. Just follow the QR code or the link over here to download it now. Keep on growing, and I will catch you next time.